On a cold, early morning, the streets are still quiet. The homeless man shuffles through the city, his old, worn-out shoes barely making a sound on the pavement. His clothes are ragged, his face weathered from years of struggling. He's no stranger to hardship. Every day is a fight for survival. Searching for food, finding a safe place to sleep, and trying to get through the day. Today feels like any other day. He's scanning the street corners, looking for anything that might help. The usual spots are empty, the people he knows barely glancing in his direction. But then something catches his eye. A wallet. It's lying on the ground, tucked between the curb and a pile of discarded newspaper. He slows his pace, eyes narrowing in surprise. It looks new. Not like something someone would just throw away. He kneels down, his hands shaking as he picks it up. The leather feels smooth against his fingers and he flips it open, his heart racing. Inside, there's cash, a few cards and what seems like an ID. His mind starts racing too. Who would leave something like this, he thinks. He glances around, instinctively looking for someone who might be searching for it, but the street is empty. It's just him and the wallet. For a moment, he stands there, frozen. He could keep it. The cash could get him a meal or two, maybe even a place to stay for the night. The temptation is strong, but something inside him tells him that this isn't the right choice. The homeless man stares down at the wallet in his hands, torn between two worlds. On one side there's the harsh reality of his life, where every dollar matters. The thought of the cash inside the wallet fills his mind, making his stomach growl. He could buy a hot meal, find somewhere warm to sleep, maybe even get a fresh pair of clothes. But then he sees the credit cards, the ID, and something inside him shifts. It's not just money, it's a person's life. The ID holds a name, a face. The wallet is someone's. They probably need it more than he does, and yet here he is holding their world in his hands. A cold wind blows down the street, but it's not the wind that chills him. It's the guilt, creeping in, filling his chest with a weight he can't shake. What if they've been looking for this? What if it's someone who's had a really bad day? He wonders. He could just walk away, keep it hidden, and no one would ever know. But then another thought strikes him. What if it's me? What if I lost this wallet? What if someone took it and never returned it? He looks around again. The street's still empty. He's alone. The temptation to keep the money is strong, but something deep inside him says, don't do it. The world might not be kind to him, but he doesn't want to lose his own sense of right and wrong. He takes a deep breath, feeling the weight of the decision in his hands. And then, without another moment of hesitation, he makes up his mind. He slowly closes the wallet, his fingers lingering on the leather for a moment. The weight of his decision feels heavy, but he knows what he has to do. The temptation to keep the money is still there, whispering in the back of his mind, but the man pushes it away. He can't let himself be ruled by desperation. Not today. He tucks the wallet into his jacket pocket, and with a deep breath, he turns away from the street corner. He starts walking, not really sure where he's going, but knowing he has a purpose now. The street is cold, and his steps are slow at first, hesitant. But then the more he walks, the clearer it becomes. He's going to return the wallet. He doesn't care if he's hungry. He doesn't care if he's cold. Doing the right thing will mean more to him than any meal or shelter could. The man looks up at the buildings around him, people bustling in and out of stores, not paying any attention to the homeless figure walking through the city. His clothes are old, his shoes worn, and every step is a reminder of how hard life has been. But this is different. This is something he can control. This is something that makes him feel human again. He passes a few shops and looks into a nearby cafe. He wonders if he should go in and ask around. It's not much, but he figures if he can find the owner, he can give the wallet back. As he steps inside, the warmth hits him, and he stands there for a moment, letting the heat wash over him. But no one seems to notice him. He shuffles toward the counter where a barista is busy making coffee. "Excuse me," he says, his voice quiet but firm. "I found something outside, a wallet. I think someone in here might have lost it." The barista looks up, startled. "A wallet?" "Yeah," the man says, holding it out. "I don't know whose it is, but I thought I'd bring it here. Maybe someone left it behind." The barista takes the wallet and opens it, scanning its contents. Her eyes widen when she sees the ID and the stack of cash. Wow, she mutters under her breath. This must be important. She hesitates for a moment, looking at the homeless man, her face softening. Are you sure you want to leave it here? I mean, you could. The man shakes his head before she finishes her sentence. No, I just want to return it. I don't want anything from it. The barista nods, though a bit puzzled. Okay, I'll make sure it gets to the right person. She takes a quick glance at the ID again, looking up at the man. You know, I think I've seen this guy around. His name's Mr. Daniels. He works downtown. The homeless man feels a small glimmer of hope. Do you know where he is? The barista nods, looking thoughtful. I think he's usually here in the mornings for coffee. But it's been a while since I've seen him. Maybe he's just not around today. The man thanks her and leaves the cafe, feeling uncertain. His footsteps are slower now. But there's a new sense of determination in his heart. He doesn't know where he's going, but he knows he has to try. He wanders through the busy streets, looking at every face, wondering if he'll recognize Mr. Daniels or if someone will point him in the right direction. It feels like an impossible task, but he doesn't give up. His stomach growls and the cold is starting to bite at him, but he keeps moving. Hours pass and the sun begins to set. The streets are filled with people heading home, rushing through the evening commute. He feels out of place, but he pushes forward, refusing to stop. Finally, just as he's about to give up, he sees a man in a suit walking out of a building nearby. The homeless man's heart skips a beat. The man is older, but there's something familiar about his face. It's Mr. Daniels. He quickens his pace, his legs aching, but his resolve stronger than ever. When he reaches Mr. Daniels, the businessman looks at him curiously. "Excuse me, sir," the homeless man says, his voice shaking slightly. I think this belongs to you." He pulls the wallet out of his coat and hands it over. Mr. Daniels stops in his tracks, his eyes widening in disbelief. That's my wallet," he exclaims. How did you get it?" The homeless man shrugs, not knowing what to say. "I found it on the street, I just wanted to return it." The businessman is silent for a moment, clearly stunned. Then he looks at the man, a mix of confusion and gratitude in his eyes. Thank you so much." Without another word, the homeless man turns and starts walking away. He feels the weight of the world lift from his shoulders. It doesn't matter what happens next. He did the right thing. A few days later, the homeless man is walking down the street again, feeling a little lighter than usual. The cold still bites, and the streets are still unforgiving, but there's something different about him now. He can't quite put his finger on it, but he feels a quiet sense of pride. He did the right thing, and that matters. Suddenly, he hears someone calling his name. He turns around, and to his surprise, it's Mr. Daniels, the businessman from the cafe. The man looks even more out of place now, dressed in a sharp suit and carrying a briefcase, his face a little worn from stress. "Hey!" Mr. Daniels calls out, catching up to him. "I've been looking for you." The homeless man blinks, unsure what to say. "Me? Why?" Mr. Daniels holds up his hand, a smile on his face. "I need to thank you properly for returning my wallet. I can't believe someone like you would do that." The homeless man's heart skips a beat. "It's just the right thing to do." "I know," Mr. Daniels says, nodding, "and that's why I've been thinking about it. You're the kind of person who deserves better. You're not like the others." He pauses for a moment, as if choosing his words carefully. "Listen, I want to offer you something. A job, a way to get back on your feet." The homeless man stares at him, stunned. "A job? Me?" "Yes," Mr. Daniels insists. "I run a small company downtown. We help people who are struggling to find work, and I think you'd be a great fit. You can start by helping with some of our projects, learn a trade. I'll even pay for your meals. No one should have to live like this, and I want to help you change that." The homeless man's mind is racing. A job? A chance at something more? It feels like a dream. He spent so many years fighting just to survive. Never in a million years did he think he'd be offered a chance like this. But doubts creep in. "I don't know," he says quietly. I'm not sure I can do it." Mr. Daniels steps closer, his voice gentle but firm. "You can. I believe in you. I've seen what you did, and I know you have something inside you that's worth giving a chance. Please, take this opportunity." The homeless man stands there, feeling a strange mix of emotions. He's scared, uncertain, and yet, for the first time in a long while, he feels something like hope. Okay, he says, finally. I'll give it a try. Mr. Daniels smiles, his eyes filled with kindness. Good. I'll make sure you have everything you need. This is just the beginning. The homeless man nods, his heart racing. He doesn't know what the future holds, but for the first time, he feels like maybe, just maybe, things are going to get better. The days that follow are filled with change. The homeless man, now beginning to see a glimpse of something more, steps into a world that feels both overwhelming and exciting. He starts working at Mr. Daniels' company, doing small tasks at first, organizing files, running errands, and learning the basics of the job. It's not glamorous work, but it's a start. Each morning, he wakes up in a small apartment that's clean and warm. For the first time in years, he sleeps through the night, not worrying about where he'll find shelter or if he'll be safe. There's a comfort in knowing that he's not alone in this struggle anymore. Mr. Daniels checks in on him regularly, offering support and encouragement. He even provides meals, making sure the man doesn't have to worry about food. Over time, the man learns more. He gets the hang of his tasks and begins to feel a sense of accomplishment. His confidence grows little by little. The people at the company are kind, and they don't judge him for his past. They see him as someone who is trying, someone who deserves a chance. The man is still hesitant at times, unsure if he truly belongs in this new world. But each day he feels himself becoming stronger, more capable. One afternoon, Mr. Daniels pulls him aside. "How are you doing?" he asks, his voice warm with concern. "I'm okay," the man replies, looking down. "It's different, but it feels good." Mr. Daniels smiles. "You've come a long way. I knew you had it in you." The homeless man's heart swells with gratitude. He never thought anyone would say something like that to him. Not someone like Mr. Daniels. Weeks turn into months, and the man's life continues to transform. He saves what little money he can, always with the hope of one day being able to stand on his own. He gets a bus pass, something he never thought he would own. He makes plans, small ones at first, like taking a walk on his lunch break, or buying a new jacket for winter. Simple things that remind him of how far he's come. One day, as he's walking down the street, he stops and looks around. It's the same street he used to wander, the one that used to feel so cold and lonely. But now it's different. It feels full of possibilities. He smiles to himself, knowing he has made it this far. It's not easy and there are still hard days ahead, but he's no longer just surviving. He's living. And that's something he never thought would happen. The homeless man has found a new beginning, one he never expected, but one that he will fight for every day.